Sharing versus telling. Social media for business. What should you share and how much of it should you share from your business page? Now, social media is all about sharing versus not telling. And unfortunately, this is where we see a lot of business owners miss the mark. So you might ask, what should you be sharing from your social media business platforms? Now, there's a formula, and there's a few variations to this formula, but the premise of it is share more than you promote. So 5 posts should be content called curated content, which is content from other sources that you are sharing. Now, that can be from industry thought leaders, people who've inspired you, other people in your industry, anything of that nature. 3 posts should be content that you've created. Now, that can include anything informative like tips, infographics, videos, a link to your blog, photos. 2 posts should be fun or funny, interactive posts, maybe spontaneous, things that you would think that your followers might enjoy. Think something along the lines of a meme that is relevant to your industry. So also, it is suggested that for every 10 posts of created content that you post, only one of those out of 10, only one should be promotional, self-promotional in nature. Now, this may sound counterintuitive, and you're probably thinking, how in the world is this going to help me? But stick with me here. I have 2 scenarios that will hopefully help you better understand why this formula of sharing versus self-promotion is really helpful and a really strong tool. Now, you're at a networking event and you meet a gentleman and strike up a conversation. He's a business owner. He tells you how he started his business and a little bit about his business. And then he goes on to talk about products he offers and services he offers and upcoming sales and product launch and in-store promotions that he has and past sales. And he just pretty much talks about his business and promotes himself and his products. Now, you bump into another gentleman later in the evening, and he's also a business owner. He tells you about how he started his business and what made him start his business, and you just learn a little bit about his business. And then he tells you about innovators in his industry and thought leaders and people who inspired him. And he seems like a wealth of information in his industry. He just has full of information, tips, tidbits of things. Just, you feel like you could ask him things about his industry and he'll be able to give you informative, helpful information rather than just talk about his products. He also cracks a few jokes. So if you see where I'm going here, the second gentleman follows the formula that I just went over, the 5 post, 3 post, 2 post formula. And the second gentleman, you're most likely going to remember him. He was engaging. If something comes up and there's a need for something this man offers in his business, you most likely are going to remember him and possibly go back to him. He was just engaging. He seemed like he was just full of a wealth of information, and he didn't just sit and promote, which can be really boring. So hopefully that example, that scenario, helps you understand why it is so important to share more than you promote and why self-promotion is not that beneficial when it's overdone. It should be done in small increments. So one thing to remember, whenever you share curated content, always include a link to your blog. That way, your website will continue to reach new contacts. You're always driving people back to your website, or hopefully driving people back to your website. Now, I'd like to thank you for tuning in. We have a little bit of a different format today. I am on my phone. I'm usually on my computer. We changed things up a bit. If you have any questions or comments or feedback, we'd love to hear from you, so drop us a line in the comment section. And if you haven't already liked our page, go ahead and hit that like button, that thumbs up button, and we will see you next week. Thank you for tuning in to our weekly installment of PMA Facebook Live.